It is great to talk to you this afternoon, but first off, obviously, off the back of last week, I have to ask just for everybody who's listening, just how things are with you at the moment.
Things are good for me. It's a little nerve wracking just because of change of routine, and a little bit of the unknown. But I'm excited for future opportunities and ventures.
And I see you're able now to catch up with your Sunday basketball.
Football,
Oh, football.
come on,
Hey,
you guys are. Oh, you or I'm sorry. What? American football.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I have more time for my American football now, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Now obviously, last week, and a lot of people will know last week, when you were released, allegedly stemming from the comment you made at the SmackDown tapings. But do you think that it was like their way of going creatively? There's nothing for you, or maybe do you think that you just happened to be the wrong person on the wrong day based on the way the ratings are going at the minute?
I mean, it was because of that. Um, it had been a long couple of years for me trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
trying to work on angles, stories, ideas to get in. So it had been a frustrating road for me, but that particular night, just a bad decision on my behalf. I don't know how you guys feel about that word over there. It's not to me. It's not a big deal. I didn't think
yeah.
anything. I didn't think anything of it, but yeah, Vince wasn't happy about that.
No, I mean I know here it almost depends who you talk to here. I mean, I while I don't swear or whatever, I would use the word. I would use the word prick, and I would, if I was talking to people or talking to friends or talking to my brother or whatever, that you would have no problem and say that it sort of depends. It has, and it depends almost again who you're talking to and when it is, I suppose. But
It was. We were discussing it afterwards in the locker room, and half the guys were like, yeah, you can't say that," and then the other half were like, That's fine. I've never heard that being a problem."
yeah,
I don't know if it's like a generational word that maybe used to be worse than it is now, but I mean, I cuss a lot,
yeah,
and never at any point growing up, me or my friends ever even used the word prick. We
yeah.
didn't. We didn't even. I don't know. So I didn't think it was a big deal, and I really didn't. I really didn't think it through, but I should have been more careful
Yeah.
in that moment because I knew Vince was watching. Um, yeah, I tend to take chances at stupid times. I feel like has probably marked my career. Um, so that's probably something I shouldn't have led up to chance. But
I suppose it depends. It was funny. I was watching just on the network last week. I was catching up on some stuff, and I saw the table for three stuff with Sheamus and Wade and Regal, and where Sheamus was talking about doing a promo in front of some people in England and calling them twats. That here in Ireland means, as he said, means that you're an idiot. And so he was just calling them idiots, and he got to the locker room, and everybody was like, "No, not in England, not in America, no."
yeah, that's definitely
Yeah,
not
yeah. I mean, we
okay
know
over here.
we know what it is, but I mean, and it has that connotation here too. But I think for him, he just sort of reverted to Irish type and completely forgot.
Right.
Um, jumping back a little, what's your background as far as your interest in wrestling growing up?
Well, yeah, I grew up watching it like everyone else. More, I watched more WCW,
Yeah,
honestly, because WWF was a little more risque, I think, than I probably would have wanted to watch around my family. So I kind of
yeah.
went with WCW at the time. And then, when I was growing up, the wars were starting to rage, and then I got into sports a little bit more in high school, and it kind of dropped off in high school, and then for some reason I started picking back up on it in college. In my last couple of years in college, I started watching again weekly, and it had been a few years since I kind of paid attention. And I don't know, I've always been drawn to it. And after college, I got a business degree. I got a job in an office with a tie, wearing a suit, sitting at a desk, and I decided I hated all of that. And I decided that I was still young enough, I should go and pursue some kind of dream. So I decided to dive into wrestling. It was either that or move to LA, which seemed a little too financially far-fetched.
Yeah.
But I figured I could pull off attempting to getting into wrestling. So I just kind of researched on where to go because I didn't want to waste my time. There's hundreds of thousands of indie promotions. So I was going to either move to Atlanta, which was a good move because they shut down shortly after, and I went to Louisville at OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. And back then, it was the developmental territory at the time. And back then, it was a lot different where you could pay for classes, and they had a beginner's class you could pay for, an intermediate class you could pay for, and then the advanced class that you could pay for, and you could actually train with the contracted guys. So it was a lot different. So I moved there, paid to train, got trained by Rip Rogers, Joey Mercury, and then I'd been there for about 4 or 5 months when WWE pulled out and went to Tampa.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a good thing for me because, sorry, my dogs are losing their minds. Give me just 1 minute.
No problem.
Okay, where was I? So they pulled out and they still needed to run their local television there, so it ended up being a good thing because they needed guys to fill spots. So a lot of us with less experience kind of got thrown in.
Yeah.
So I spent about 3 years at OVW. Got a lot of experience very quickly. There were guys like Rob Conway, Eugene, Joey were there, writing the show, running things, and training. So I got a lot of good WWE style training, and I stayed there for about 3 years until Johnny Ace signed me and packed up and moved to Tampa.
I mean, during your time, obviously in OVW, and then when you moved to FCW, you held championships in both singles and obviously tag in Tampa. Did it encourage you that obviously, and especially in Florida, that WWE management obviously saw something in you as a character and as a performer that they liked?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't even know. They didn't even know that I was a wrestler. I've been trained at this point for about, I guess, close to 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of climbed that ladder and did the things that they said I needed to do at the developmental level. They put the Jack Briscoe 15 championship on me, which was like, the wrestling title or medal, and then the tag team championships as well. And that was right before everything got rebranded to NXT. And then it was about that time they told me they had an idea for this referee angle. So I started prepping for that. They kept me off NXT TV when that first started to develop. So I don't think I ever wrestled a match on NXT, or I might have later on when I came back. No, I'm not sure. I was kind of just waiting around for a few months, and then finally one week Dusty was like, "You know what? It ain't gonna happen. They ain't gonna do that referee thing. We need to get you going." So I was planning on being on the next set of tapings at NXT, and then it was like the next day that they called and said, they said we're going ahead with the referee thing, and I didn't really have any details on it. They threw me in the ring, and I trained to be a ref for like a week, and then they brought me up on the road at the SummerSlam. I guess it was 2012.
Yeah.
Was that it? I came up for SummerSlam, and then started reffing like I guess the next day. did that for a few months, and then they did the angle with Punk and Ryback.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously after that there was like a long running storyline where there were obstacles kept being put in front of you. Yeah, we'll give you a wrestling contract if you can beat X, Y, or Z. But obviously, the outcome of that was that you could never quite cut it to get a wrestling contract. Was it a little bit frustrating for you that you couldn't get to do more in ring, or were you happy doing what you were doing?
No, I definitely wanted. I've always wanted to wrestle. I don't. I mean, it was fun. Like I've gotten to do some cool stuff. Like going over promos with Vince in his office or in his the bathroom of his office for some reason with him and Daniel Bryan and Stephanie. So I've had some cool moments. But yeah, absolutely would like to have wrestled off the get go. But that's I can't really blame anyone on that except myself because I wasn't proactive when I got up. I don't know if I was just nervous or happy to be there, but I could have talked to Vince more than I did.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of sitting around and catering and hoping that the writers were coming up with something good for me. And, I mean, if I had known what to do when I first came up, things might have gone a lot differently, but I didn't, I wasn't proactive. And, like Vince, for example, didn't know that I could wrestle. He didn't know that I was trained or that I was any good. And he didn't really find that out until I came back up on the road. I guess it was like 9 months ago. Because after they fired me on TV as the GM, shortly after I wasn't traveling for like 8 or 9 months. I was sitting at home waiting, and it was at that point in time when I kind of realized like what I want, what I don't want, and if I go back up there, I'm not messing around. I'm going to be in Vince's office every week whenever I can. I don't give a shit. I'm not afraid to knock on his door or walk in his office or say what I need to him. So it was like around that time when I came back up and started talking to him on a weekly basis, and that we started getting things ironed out. So I wish I had done that from the start. It was just a lack of communication on my part. So that's kind of why things, I think, went the way that they did.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, I mean, you obviously had the good experiences and doing the ref stuff and the raw GM and so on. You had all those experiences, and there seemed like a couple of times when you thought that they could have pulled the trigger on you and put you in more in ring scenarios. But were you sort of using the out of the ring stuff to just, as you say, to develop your character more and your personality more in preparation for getting back in?
There just wasn't a lot of planning put into it, I don't think, and that's again that falls on me for not coming up with what's next soon enough.
Yeah.
And not communicating, and I could have been more ready physically. Like if I had looked then like I do now, I think that even in the squash matches, Vince would have noticed, oh, that guy looks really good.
Yeah.
We need to use him in more than just getting his face kicked in. So I could have looked better. I could have done a lot of things differently. But that's just how it worked out.
Right. And obviously, as you say, when you come back up on the road, on and off, you were in tag teams, like with Adam Rose and so on, um, or you were doing some single stuff. What do you have a preference? Do you prefer tags or singles, or are you one of these guys that doesn't mind, if you know what I mean? Just
I prefer singles because I'm kind of a showboat,
yeah,
and I don't like to share the spotlight. I have fun with both. I like doing tag stuff. Joey is a tag expert.
yeah,
So I've always kind of been under his tutelage, kind of like every step of my career. We've just kind of always been around each other, and I've picked up a lot of things from him. And I enjoy the psychology of a tag and kind of doing things and little things that people don't do anymore. So I enjoy it, and it's kind of more relaxing because you don't always have to be on, or you split the workload. But when I'm not being lazy, I certainly prefer the singles career.
Now, one thing I must ask you about now, obviously I had seen it online and had watched it, but we couldn't get it on TV here, was in the build up obviously to Survivor Series, you were seen or not, as it maybe on the Tonight Show, obviously when with the stuff with Undertaker and coming up to his 25th anniversary. How did the opportunity to do that come about?
I'm not real sure how that came about. I got a phone call that they needed me for a turkey costume, and I was kind of assuming up until like I got to 30 Rock uh, in New York
Yeah.
that I was going to be wearing like a full turkey head.
Yeah.
And then they showed me the outfit. I'm like, oh man. So everyone's gonna know I'm in a turkey outfit. All right. I don't know. I know a lot of guys were overseas at the time, so I
Yeah.
might have been one of the only guys in America.
Obviously, WWE have been getting a lot of flack, as we would say here recently, because of obviously the ratings are down, and the TV show, as a lot of people would say, is kind of just treading water at the minute. What do you think they need to do to turn things around, or who could they use, especially given all the injuries? Who could they use better to help?
Oh, I have no idea. We're pursuing. They've been pursuing. I say we. I'm not there anymore. They're gonna be more family oriented, and that's just
Yeah.
how it's gonna be. And that's the reason I got in so much trouble, because we have an image that they are trying to establish, and I know a lot of the more hardcore wrestling fans in the online community don't like it,
Yeah.
but that's just how it's gonna be, and I don't know exactly why it is or isn't working right now. I'm one guy that I'm really happy for is Xavier Woods, and
Yeah.
the way that they run with New Day,
Yeah.
because to me those guys are as entertaining as it gets, and I don't know if you know how difficult it is to synchronize a three-man promo the way that they do, but I think they're pretty masterful, and hopefully people will start to catch on and to get on board with that, because they're really entertaining, and I enjoy their brand of comedy a lot. But I don't know. We've got obviously a lot of turnover. I keep saying we. They got a lot of young guys, and they're kind of transitioning into that. So I'm sure that they're gonna come out of it just fine.
Yeah. Now, obviously now as you say, you've got a lot more time in your hands. What's next for you, wrestling wise? Are you gonna try and do some stuff in the States, or are you hoping maybe would you look at Japan or Europe, or what's next?
I don't know exactly what yet as far as wrestling. I've got some appearances, some signings coming up. As far as actual wrestling, I'm sure I'll do a little bit while I have any name recognition whatsoever left. I'm sure I'll make a little bit of money. I don't know specifically career-wise what I'm going to do in that. I know I'm going to get into acting a lot more heavily.
Yeah.
Because that's something I also enjoy. There's just a lot of options right now, and I spent the last week ironing through what I'm going to do with all my newfound freedom.
I mean, do you ever see a time or do you think the door would be open for you to go back at any point?
Yeah, that's what they say, right? The door's never closed. Maybe if I can go make a name for myself somewhere,
Yeah.
and then I can get one of those fancy contracts. I don't know.
Well, you never know. It is. I do think it's interesting actually that a lot of guys in wrestling also are very good or can turn their hand to acting and stuff as well. I know that you said that was something you were interested in. Was that a background that you have, if you know what I mean, as well, or is it just something that you enjoy?
It's not at all in my background. I was terrified of public speaking, I didn't do any of that in high school or
Yeah.
growing up. It's kind of something that I've grown into, and it's one of those things where I was always too afraid to realize what I wanted to do with my life when I was in high school and in college. Because I just kind of thought, my dad was in business. I have to go get a degree. I have to graduate, and I have to go get a business job somewhere, or I have to be in marketing. And it wasn't until I got into the real world and realized that I just don't want to do any of this crap. And it's kind of grown on me, and it's something I've grown a passion for, and I'm not afraid of doing any of it at this point.
Um, you you talked obviously about how when you were in WWE, there were times you wish you'd spoken up more, things that you wish you'd pushed more. Um, Other than that, do you have any regrets about your time being there?
Uh, it kind of sucks that I've sat around the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I mean, because I'm not getting any younger. Um, but I don't know. You can't do anything about that. One thing that I did that I would like to have back, but I can't possibly, is like the first live promos that I ever did. It's a lot different when you're out in front of thousands of people and you're getting all this audio feedback
yeah,
from the fans. Like I like to think that I'm pretty creative and I'm a pretty good promo, but that was in Dusty Rhodes' promo class, at FCW, and I kind of mastered that. But it's just completely different when you've got people screaming in your ear and getting different live feedback. So it kind of messed with me.
yeah,
Um, uh, Initially, it was a big adjustment, and it's something that by the time I kind of figured it out, it's like my ship had sailed. So that was unfortunate. And then there were times where my role at the time was like the Teddy Long role, where I just come out and it's like, hey, you guys are fighting, so we're gonna put you in a match because I'm the GM, and like that's all they wanted. And me being me and wanting to do more and wanting to be creative and taking stupid risks. Like there were a few times when I tried to make way more out of that than I should have,
yeah.
and I should have just like proven that I can just go out and say these words and come back. Maybe I don't know. So a few times I tried to get like too creative with it, and I have like a weird brand of humor, anyways. So maybe some fans didn't get it, and I think The Office definitely didn't get it, and I made way too much out of like small things that I should have just like nailed. So
Yeah.
that might be something I'd do differently. Just take what I get until and hope for more instead of trying to make too much out of something that's not there.
Well, now that you're, say, finding, as you said, finding a little bit more time in your hands, how can the fans keep up to date with what you're doing? And I noticed you've actually, with Pro Wrestling Tees, you're getting some merch out there as well. How can they sort of get that and keep up to date with what you're up to?
Yeah, I have my T-shirt now for the first time in like 7 years. Yeah, that's my wrestling T-shirt T store, which is under Mad Maddox. Like it rhymes with Brad Maddox. And then I have a Twitter handle, which I guess I need to change. It's currently Brad Maddox's WWE. And I have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to start getting back on that. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's pretty entertaining stuff. I do different things with my daughter, and then different multiple personality videos. I just changed the name on that today. It's called Unrealistically Real on YouTube is the channel name. And I've already got a bunch of videos up there, and I'm going to start making more probably today.
Cool. Well, as I say, it is. I appreciate having the opportunity to chat to you this afternoon. As I say, I know obviously in the last week you'll have been sort of up to your eyes and busy and looking forward and looking back, I suppose. But it's been much appreciated, and it's been a really good chat. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, man. Absolutely. No problem at all.